A boy's trembling voice cut through the morning bustle. Can I sell you a pastry, sir?" He was barefoot on the cold pavement, holding a tray that looked heavier than his small arms could manage. People passed him without seeing him, until the millionaire stopped, looked into the boy's eyes, and said the sentence that would flip both of their worlds upside down: "You're going to live with me." But this story didn't begin there. It began long before that moment, before the boy's hope had thinned to threads, before the man had forgotten what warmth felt like, before fate brought two broken souls into the same street on the same morning. And once their paths crossed, nothing was ever the same again. Chapter 1. The morning sun hadn't fully risen when little Ion dragged his wooden pastry tray across the cracked footpath. He was 12, though his bones felt older, and his heart felt tired enough to be ancient. Every pastry he sold meant one more day he could keep his sick younger sister, Meher, warm, one more day her medicine could last, one more day she wouldn't cry herself to sleep hungry. Their father had disappeared 2 years earlier, their mother had died the year after that, and now Ion was all she had left. He practiced his smile in the shop windows, crooked but brave, because people bought more from children who looked cheerful. But inside, he was scared. Meher's fever had worsened last night. She had whispered, "Will you promise that tomorrow will be better?" He had nodded even though he felt the truth cracking inside him. By noon, he had sold almost nothing. People rushed to work, eyes glued to screens, ears plugged with headphones, hearts shielded from the world. But Ion kept trying. Maybe if he stood straighter. Maybe if he spoke louder. Maybe if he prayed harder. That's when he saw a black luxury car glide to a stop beside the curb. The door opened, and out stepped a man with a face too tired for someone so young. His name was Ehsan Mirza, the reclusive millionaire, the CEO known for building empires but destroying every personal relationship he ever had. He lived in a mansion that echoed with emptiness, and though he never admitted it, loneliness gnawed at him more viciously than any failure ever could. Ion didn't know any of that. He only saw a chance. He hurried forward. "Sir? Can I sell you a pastry, sir?" he said, voice cracking. "They're fresh. Please, just one." Ehsan stopped. His assistant whispered, "Ignore him, sir. These street kids lie." But Ehsan wasn't listening. Something, an old, familiar ache, stirred in him when he looked at the boy. The same ache he felt the night he lost his own little brother in an accident he blamed himself for. The same ache that had hollowed him out and made him run from anything that reminded him of family. But this boy had the same eyes. Ion kept talking, desperately. "My sister is sick, and I just need to sell enough for medicine. You don't have to eat it, sir. Just help me." His hands were shaking so badly that one pastry slid off the tray and hit the pavement. People laughed. Someone muttered, "Drama for sympathy." But Ehsan knelt and picked up the pastry with a gentleness that shocked everyone. "What's your name?" he asked softly. "Ion, sir." "And where is your sister?" "At home. I mean, our room. It's not really a home." He swallowed. "But I try to make it feel like one." The millionaire didn't answer. He just removed his sunglasses, something he rarely did in public, and his eyes softened in a way his assistant had never seen. "Show me," Ehsan said. Ion hesitated. Strangers were dangerous. But something about the man made his fear loosen. They walked through narrow alleys until they reached a crumbling building where Meher lay on a thin mattress, shivering. Ehsan's breath caught. This child, this fragile girl, looked like a ghost of someone who deserved sunshine. Ion immediately knelt beside her. "Meher, look. I brought someone who might help." Meher blinked. "Is he our uncle?" she whispered. The question hit Ehsan like a punch to the chest. Before he could speak, the landlord barged in. "Rent. You're 2 weeks late. Out. Today." Ion shielded Meher. "Please, sir. Just one more day." "No," the landlord barked. "Out." And that was the moment Ehsan's voice thundered across the room for the first time, "They're not going anywhere." Silence followed. Heavy, sharp, shaking, Ehsan stepped forward. "Pack what they have. I'll handle the rent." Then he turned to Ayan, who stared at him like he wasn't real. "You're coming with me," Ehsan said. "Both of you. You're going to live with me." Ayan froze. His lips parted. "Sir, why?" Ehsan looked down, voice low and almost breaking, "Because no child should fight battles alone. Not anymore." And in that single moment, the boy who had learned to expect nothing from the world suddenly felt something warm rise inside him, hope. The kind that could make a child breathe again. The car ride to the mansion was silent at first. Ayan clutched Meher tightly, as if afraid someone would snatch this miracle away. Meher stared at the leather seats, the tiny lights on the ceiling, the soft blankets. She had never touched anything so gentle. Ehsan watched them through the mirror. His heart, unused to feeling, kept stumbling over itself. He had spent years running from guilt, building walls, drowning his pain in success. But these two children, sitting small and scared in the back of his car, cracked him open in ways he couldn't understand yet. When they reached the mansion, servants stared as Ehsan carried Meher inside. "Prepare a room," he ordered. "No, prepare the guest wing." Ayan's mouth fell open at the sheer size of everything. He followed cautiously, afraid he'd wake up and find it was all a dream. Doctors arrived within an hour. Medicine was given. Warm food was prepared. Fresh clothes were brought. Meher cried softly when she tasted her first bowl of hot soup in months. "Is this really for me?" she whispered. Ayan watched her eat, tears silently running down his face. That night, Ehsan stood in the doorway, watching the siblings sleep peacefully for the first time in so long. Something inside him shifted, something he thought was long dead. The next weeks changed everything. Meher recovered slowly, her laughter filling the mansion like sunlight pouring into a dark attic. She started calling Ehsan uncle, then Baba, shyly, as if testing whether the world would take it away from her. Ehsan didn't correct her. He couldn't. The word melted something in him. Ayan, however, struggled. He helped the staff, refused new clothes, and apologized whenever he made the smallest mistake. One evening, Ehsan found him sitting alone in the backyard, shoulders shaking. "Tell me," Ehsan said gently, sitting beside him. Ayan wiped his eyes quickly. "Sir. I don't want to be a burden. I don't want you to feel like you have to take care of us. I know rich people help for a day or two and then forget. I'm afraid one morning you'll wake up and think we're not worth it." Ehsan closed his eyes. The boy's fear was a reflection of his own, fear of being unwanted, unloved, unnecessary. "You listen to me carefully," Ehsan said. "You are not a burden. You saved your sister every single day with nothing but your courage. If anything, you're teaching me what strength looks like." Ayan looked up, stunned. "And I'm not leaving," Ehsan added. "Not tomorrow. Not ever." Slowly, hesitantly, Ayan leaned into him. It was the first time in years he allowed himself to be held. Months passed. The mansion became a home again. Laughter returned to halls that had forgotten how to echo joy. Ehsan rebuilt his life with the two children who rebuilt theirs with him. Ayan began school. Meher filled the house with drawings and giggles. And Ehsan finally forgave himself for the accident that had taken his brother, but the real moment came one evening during dinner. Meher tugged Ehsan's sleeve. "Baba?" "Yes, sweetheart? Are we your children now?" The room fell quiet. Ayan froze. Ehsan stood, walked around the table, knelt between them, and gathered them both into his arms. "You were my children," he whispered, from the moment a small boy said, "Can I sell you a pastry, sir?" and my heart finally woke up. Tears spilled, Meher's, Ayan's, and his own. Their story didn't begin with charity. It didn't begin with pity. It began with recognition. Two lost children and a lonely man finding the missing pieces of themselves in one another, and from that day forward, no one ever questioned where they belonged together, they belonged as a family, they belonged in a home built not by wealth but by love rediscovered. And so the boy who once sold pastries on the street now lived in a mansion filled with warmth, laughter, and hope, because one man chose to stop, listen, and say the one sentence that changed everything: "You're going to live with me."